with us now as we raise our thanksgiving to you, for your grace and favor, to our ancestors, to us, and to our children. Amen. Present the colors.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, boy, march. Shoulder on. Color guard, left turn. Color guard, make time. Walk. Color guard, right face. Color guard, mount the colors. Color guard, about face. Color guard, boy, march. Now to honor America, would you join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Color guard, left, go ahead. Color guard, hold. This afternoon, the place where we stand today is sacred ground. And we salute those today who have selflessly served, and especially those who gave the last full measure of devotion. They are the ones who hallow this ground, even to this day outside as they await the rapture of God. But our story begins 100 years before the 250th anniversary that we celebrate next year. Our Wreaths will, in a short while, tell us a bit about his experience. His fellow pilgrims came to this place, drawn here with the promise that they would be able to exercise their God-given rights to life, liberty, and to pursue happiness. Persecuted for those religious beliefs, they escaped to a place where those beliefs would mold the democratic republic that we celebrate 250 years next year.
Guten Morgen. When Hendrik Croson came to Staten Island in the early 1680s, leaving his original home and family in Flatbush behind, Staten Island looked very different than it does today, of course. The island was filled with forests and deep woods, swamplands, high hills, and deep ravines. He came originally with his brother Derek to farm his father's 160 acres of land on the North Shore. But by 1695 to the early summer of 1696, he took up a more deeply spiritual job as the voorlezer of the Dutch Reformed Church of Staten Island. Hendrik was in his early 30s when he took up that job of voorlezer, which means to be the forereader, one who reads to others. It would have been his duties to read from the Bible every Sunday to the parishioners, to, of course, record down all members of the community, births, baptisms, marriages, and deaths. Hendrik did this lovingly, serving his community from 1695, 1696, until 1718. In the early years, before 1701, he lived in what is now Richmond town, although he would have known it as Town. In there, in a little red building, he would have been working and living soon enough with his wife, Cornelia Corson, and their children, who would soon come to them. In 1698, he welcomed his first of his children, Maricha. She is the first and only child to be born in the Wreaths' house, which is nowadays part of historic Richmond town. Hendrik Crozen's life is a very interesting one and a very dedicated one to his people, to his community, and of course to his religion. By 1718, they had moved up here to Port Richmond. They had built in 1714, 1715 the Octagonal Church. Three guesses why it was called that. The Octagonal Church once stood on this spot, but unfortunately, during the days of the American Revolution, it was razed to the ground. In the foyer in the front there is the cornerstone of the Octagonal Church, with Hendrik and his nephew's initials carved into it. Likely they were one of the builders associated with it. In 1718, the Reverend Sanford would be called forth from the Netherlands and would serve faithfully the community from that point on. Hendrik would live out his life to a very great age, into his mid-90s, until he passed away in 1760 or 61, still living in the colony days, but soon enough his children and his children's children would come to see the Revolutionary War and the birth of the young republic. It's always good to remember where we come from, especially with one such as he. Thank you.
I present this wreath for the patriots of the War for Independence. Good afternoon, I'm Langdon, Regent of the Richmond County Chapter of the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution. Founded in 1890, the DAR has welcomed more than 1 million women united by a common bond and ancestor built to secure America's independence. Our mission is simple yet powerful: historic preservation, education, and patriotism. Here in Staten Island, the Richmond County Chapter was established in 1910 and proudly continues this tradition. With nearly 70 members, we work to preserve history, support education, and honor those who serve our nation. This year, we invite you to join us in our Field of Flags fundraiser to celebrate America 250. Together, we are filling our Never Forget garden with 250 flags honoring veterans, active military, first responders, and all who love our country. If you'd like to learn more about joining our chapter or supporting our chapter, please speak with one of our members today after today's ceremony.
Forward now to the War of 1812. The War of 1812, perhaps even more so than the American Revolution, affected our community that we now call Port Richmond. At the time of the 1812 War, Port Richmond had become the maritime hub of Staten Island, giving rise many decades later to the naming of it as the Port Richmond. Presenting the wreath is Karen Kane, past president of the National Society of the United States Daughters of 1812.
Hello, my name is Karen Kane. I'm the past president of the New York City chapter of the Daughters of the War of 1812. My mother, though, was a Perrine, and actually her ancestors and my ancestors were some of the first Europeans here in Staten Island. Daniel Perrine came with Philip Carteret in 1630 and moved to Staten Island in 1660. So the Perrines have been here living, at least the Perrine house, there were Perrines there since up until 1910. So I feel like I'm coming home. And any chance I have to come to Staten Island, I always say, well, I'll go. So as the past president, I want to honor the civilians, the veterans, and those who helped during the War of 1812.
Moving on to the Civil War, presenting the wreath, Mr. Gary Lane, another one of those 8th century descendants of our voters.
I wave this wreath on behalf of the veterans of the Civil War.
Korea and Vietnam. Presenting the wreath is Mr. Christopher Roy.
I present this wreath on behalf of soldiers of the 20th century, specifically the Great War or World War I, as it became known when we had World War II. I'm portraying a doughboy, as they were called, of the 27th Division, who were made up of New York State militia units, all combined under the 107th U.S. Infantry. We were under British service, but we served as one of the highest casualty units during the Great War and the breaking of the Hindenburg Line towards the end of the war. So I salute everyone from the 20th century, specifically from the Great War. Thank you.
For our soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and women who are still missing in action. Their locations known but to God. Presenting the POW MIA wreath is Tara Neesing, representing the Staten Island Chapter number 2 of Royal Family.
I'm presenting this wreath today on behalf of all POW MIAs that are missing and will hopefully be found soon. I am Tara Lucy. I am a proud member of Rolling Thunder Chapter 2, New York, and our mission is to bring home all POWs and MIAs and to promote this issue so we can bring them home to their final resting place. Thank you.
This wreath is being presented by the Ten of the Towers Foundation, War on Terror, which we all hope that we'll never see what we saw on 9/11 ever again. The Ten of the Towers is very fond of helping every Gold Star member, every first responders that come into chaos with everything that's happening around the world right now. We hope that this will never happen again, but the foundation is always there to help. I'm really wound by coming here again this year and looking at all the veterans that are here. When I went to Whitehall back in 1972, they told me, don't worry about it, just fill out the forms, the war's going to be over soon. So I went home. But when I look at everybody here, I'm truly honored to watch and respect what you guys have done. Unfortunately, I was benefited to say, you know what, we don't need you. It's fine. But what you guys did, I'm very fond and very proud of what you guys are doing. And that's why I come here on behalf of the Ten of the Towers, because what we do is whatever money we receive goes to help you guys. And we're very fond of what this organization has done. Thank you.
Nice job, Brian. Nice job. Oh.
Now we go to that point in our program where we go outside and we honor those whose service is recognized today.
1 second, got to take my guard off. There we go, preparing to fire. Firing. Fire! Fire!
I'll get another one for this guy. Give it back. 12.